Peace, family. This is your natural mystic medicine man, and today I want to talk about a plant that you'd be hard pressed to find anything good written about here in the United States of America. Most people call this particular plant an invasive species, and we have many invasive species, but what I find is that if you learn about plants from a European perspective and you happen to live in America, many of the plants that don't have its origin in Europe, they will say, okay, we got to do all we can to get rid of this particular plant. And they don't really speak too highly of the plant, even if it's medicinal. But that's not what we're doing here on this channel. We're going to talk about the medicinal aspects of all the plants that we have that are medicinal and edible, whether they are invasive or not. So this particular plant species is referred to as Japanese hops. And you can see the leaf pattern here of the Japanese hops. But one of the so-called scientific names is Humulus japonicus. Humulus japonicus. And one of the reasons that I'm going to talk about this particular plant is because I have a loved one that passed away many years ago due to a health condition that this plant actually addresses. But we'll talk about the lesser known or the lesser benefits of this particular plant. First of all, it's a weight loss plant. You can use it to help lose weight. And many of us here in the West are overweight, due in part to our standard American diet that we've adopted. So if you're trying to lose weight for health reasons, this is a plant that can help you do so. Whenever I'm talking about doing plants, typically, I'm talking about using them in tea form. And when we talk about teas, we don't want to boil the plants. We want to boil the water, pick the leaves, bruise the leaves, and then pour the water over the leaves. The boiling water, you want to pour that boiling water over the leaves and let that sit for about 10 to 20 minutes at least. And then you can use that particular tea for medicinal reasons. So the first reason is weight loss. The second reason that we want to use this plant is I almost want to jump straight to the big power one, but the second reason is you want to use it as a tonic. And this is how the Japanese, Chinese, Vietnamese, Koreans use this particular plant as a tonic. In other words, it's going to give you great vigor. It's going to make you feel energetic. All right, that is the Japanese hop. But the most powerful reason, and the reason why I'm going to talk positively about this particular plant, is that it relieves the symptoms of fatty liver. As I said, a family member of mine, my baby brother, died many years ago due to the symptoms of fatty liver, and he was a vegetarian. Okay, so if we can use these particular plants to help heal us, then whether they're invasive or not, we need to utilize these plants. Maybe, just maybe, if we knew about this particular plant, we could have saved his life. But we didn't know about this particular plant. When we were studying and he was studying, we studied much European perspective on these particular medicinal types of plants. Now, we don't do that. We may consider what they're saying, but we also take it almost with a grain of salt. And we like to do our own research and do our own due diligence, which we encourage you to do. So don't just take my word for it. But as you look this up, I'm telling you, when I looked up the plant, first I had to find out what it was. Then when I learned what it was and I looked it up, almost everywhere I looked said this is an invasive and didn't say anything about its medicinal purposes or its edible value. It always talked about, 99% of the time it talked about getting this out of our landscape because it's so invasive. With invasive plants, you can control their invasiveness. You can control where they grow. Here you see I have a ditch, and I actually trained it to grow this way, and I'm not permitting it to grow into my yard. I'm directing where it's going to grow. So as long as you can control where it grows, I would encourage people to grow these so-called invasive plants, and you just control its spread. So again, this has been your Natural Mystic Medicine Man with more good news from nature. This, again, is Japanese hops, not to be confused with European hops that are used to give flavor to beer. This is not what this is. This is Humulus japonicus. I'm going to talk to y'all real soon. Peace and guidance.